Hey guys, what is up? It's your girl, Grace Tori, and I am back with a whole new podcast episode. Today we're going to be reading stories where it was hate at first sight. I read the title to these and I was like, wow, okay, are they the devil? I literally hate them. This makes me enraged, and I thought I would share them with you. If you're new here, my name's Grace. I read Reddit stories. My animals occasionally drop in. I have my two dogs with me right now, so if you see them, say hi. But if you're a nosy bystander like me, meaning you like to hear the drama, you like to hear all about all the tea, but you don't want to be directly involved in it, you're in the right place. We read Reddit stories that all have updates and all have piping hot tea, and then we judge them in a fun, lighthearted way. And yeah, it's a good time. Before I jump in, don't forget to take a second to sign the petition linked in my bio. I think there were about 280 signatures short of our next goal. So if you care about animal rights, if you want them to have a better future, did you know that in Kentucky, a chair has literally more rights than a domesticated animal? Like a chair. Like those chairs in school that you used to sit in that you thought were super uncomfortable. Yeah, that has more rights than your dog in the state of Kentucky, which is where I live. So I'm fighting to change that. If you take a second to sign that petition, I wrote all about what I plan to do, why it's important. So I would really appreciate it. You don't have to live here. It's totally free and it would mean the world to me and I'm sure other pet owners in the state. So thank you so much. Without further ado, let's go ahead and jump on into today's podcast episode. I'm Grace Story, and you're listening to That Girl the Podcast. Grab a beverage of choice and settle in, because the new episode is starting now. My 24 female boyfriend, 27 male, accidentally sent a text to me instead of his roommate stating that he didn't want me taking my new job because I would make more money than him. Original post is from January 13th, 2019. Hey Reddit, I hope all of you are enjoying the start to 2019. This feels a little weird for me. Anyways, my significant other and I have been dating for over 2 years. We lived together with several other roommates when my university did not offer immediate housing to upperclassmen, but due to finances on both of our ends, I moved back home, which is about an hour commute, to try and catch up with money. It was mainly his idea, and though I was a little upset, I did understand his reasoning. Due to this, I also had to take some additional time off from finishing my bachelor's, though it's disappointing because I'm a senior, but I can work with it. I'm being positive and using this time to give myself a financial buffer for the future. We love taking our individual situation into account and doing what's best for us versus what society tells us to do. So you go, queen. My boyfriend works as a bartender. Like him, I was also in the restaurant industry, bartending and managing and serving since I was 17. It accommodated my college schedule and gave me experience to work in guest relations. Yesterday, I interviewed with a national photography company, opposite of my degree plan, but I do freelance on the side, and found out today that I got the position as a traveling photographer and consultant. I'm on the road 4 days a week to meet with clients and do event photography, etc., before driving back home. The money is excellent, and the company is willing to work with my school schedule when I return in the fall by transitioning me to studio and local work. That sounds fun. It definitely doesn't sound like the most secure thing in the world, but I'm not sure that anything in the arts is to a certain degree. But I love when people get to tap into other passions. Like my degree and stuff is not in podcasting or anything like that. My job is not like podcasting or anything like that, but I get to do all these things and tap into all of my creative sides and all of my interests, even though my degrees are not in that at all, you know? I'm glad that you looked into something that wasn't necessarily what your degree is in, but is something that you do for fun and you were able to make that a job for now and the time being and however long you want to stick with it. I called him today to share the good news and he sounded super excited and happy for me. I was over the moon about this opportunity because I can finally tap back into creativity that I've lost over the years and pull myself out of this financial rut. However, on my way home, I received a text from him that was intended for his roommate slash best friend stating he felt threatened by me accepting this job. He expressed that he regretted pushing me to move back home because I may not have found this opportunity otherwise. Furthermore, he told his roommate that he was quote unquote frustrated I'd be making more money than him and my experience would only grow once I actually do graduate. He didn't feel as if it was right or fair that I would be making easy money with his silly camera while he had to deal with absolute jackasses who drink and make less than I do. Ooh, okay. he's minimizing your job just because he feels that it's not as hard as his. Like, I hate when people do that. That's like literally, I did the podcast for 4 years before I made a dime off of it. And I still don't make like enough to like live off of it by any means. But people see like, oh, you get like more than 10 views, or like, oh, you make any money off of that? Well, you're just filming yourself in front of a camera. Like, I want to do that. Teach me how to do that. And it's like, I don't know if people necessarily realize they're minimizing it, but it's like, no, like this is a lot of work. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of technical aspects. There's a lot of editing. There's a lot of things that go into it that people would not necessarily think about. And again, I did it for 4 years, like so many late nights with what, 50 views max, and like nobody really acknowledging it, and late nights just because I'm like, no, I want this to be something that I get to do long term. Like, this is something I'm so passionate about. I think it's so fun. It's such a good creative outlet. And now that it's like gained a little bit of traction, people just jump in like, well, I want to do it. Teach me. It looks so easy. Like, no, just because you don't understand it does not mean it's easy. He realized his mistake shortly after and now won't stop blowing up my phone. I've screened his calls because I'm still upset and hurt that he would say those things. He knows me. As long as we can set ourselves up for our future and be secure personally and financially, the job doesn't bother me. I'm also doing what I love to do and don't want to relinquish this over my boyfriend throwing a possible fit. I'm at a bit of a loss. Another thing I want to bring up is I think that it's okay for him to have negative feelings. The fact that he's expressing them is good. However, he's expressing them to the wrong person. I think that we all have negative feelings. Are they necessarily this? Are they necessarily like being jealous of something like this, or having misogynistic views? Like, I think that he would probably be jealous of someone making more than him no matter who it was. Misogyny is definitely a factor here, but I think that like if his roommate came home and was like, yeah, I'm doing this, I think that to a certain extent he'd be jealous no matter what. But I think that it's good he's expressing it, but he should be doing that to like a therapist or someone who is trained to help him navigate those negative feelings and tell him like, yo, these aren't great. Let's figure out where they're coming from, and this is how we're going to deal with them. And like, if he needs to facilitate a conversation with you about how he's feeling because he's feeling some resentment or something, like that is something that he could also factor in. There's a lot of things like that where it's like, it's okay to have negative feelings, but you need to work through them, see them for what they are, which is negative and not okay, and then grow from them. We're all conditioned to have certain thoughts or feelings that maybe we shouldn't. Like, we all couldn't control how we grew up or where we grew up, and some of those things were ingrained in us, like those negative thoughts or whatever. But I think that it's up to us to recognize them and reprogram ourselves to have better thought patterns. And if that means he needs to have a conversation with you and say that he's feeling some type of way and it's not a reflection of you, then that's fine. But the way that he said it is not, it's very demeaning and minimizing. And like, also he should be speaking to a therapist. I recommend therapy to everybody. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you think that your life is the most amazing life in the world. You need to go to therapy. I don't necessarily think that telling someone they should hide their feelings is okay, especially in a world where men are told to hide their feelings. But he needs to work through them with someone who's trained to do so, and someone who helps him recognize when they're wrong. Because these are harmful and these are wrong, and he shouldn't be feeling this way. He should be celebrating you. And I think that you are right to be really, really upset about it. He handled this wrong, and he shouldn't feel that way to begin with. But the fact that he does is like, yeah, he handled it wrong, and you got the brunt of that, and I feel like you shouldn't. And that's not fair. Like, if this isn't something that he can talk through with a therapist, I would consider breaking it off, because this is obviously going to be a problem for the rest of your life. And like, is he always going to be wanting to one-up you in other areas? Update from 6 weeks later. Hey Reddit, as always, I really hope you're doing well and hanging in there. My last post gained some traction, but I never took the time to properly thank all of you for your different perspectives and encouraging words. So after working for this company for a while, I absolutely love it. It is exhausting work, sometimes 60 to 70-hour weeks, but I absolutely love what I do and now can't bring myself to part from my photography camera for more than a few days, which is ironic because he was the one who bought it for me for my birthday. Even on my off days, I have my camera with me. Anyways, I spoke to him about the accidental text and he promised he didn't mean it in the way that it came out. He admitted to being insecure with where he felt like he was at in his life and have been taking out his frustrations not only on me, but on the former roommates. Fast forward to now, the guilt and insecurities were eating at him, and he broke down and decided to quote unquote call off our relationship temporarily, quote unquote. He cried when he did so, but further admitted that he was so unhappy with himself that he could not provide me with what I needed and deserved, which was communication and effort. All I wanted was to be loved and supported and feel like I was loved and supported even after everything he did from suggesting I move back home. He was facing legal troubles from alcohol since last year, and while both him and I do see our own therapist, he is still slightly resistant to the overall idea of therapy. He just put himself into such a deep hole and didn't feel that it was right that he might not be able to give me what I needed while he was trying to focus on himself. Even now, he knows I'll always support his growth in whatever he needs. Long story short, I didn't argue and just let it go and agreed. I didn't feel like I had the energy to argue because I'd done everything I could to make sure he was okay for over 2 years. I decided it wasn't my responsibility to do it anymore and that no matter what, I wouldn't stop moving forward. He definitely wants to get back into a relationship in the near future when everything settles and he improves himself, but I'm not holding my breath. I'm returning back to school to finish my bachelor's, international security and humanitarian rights, as a fluent Russian speaker. My family is also Russian. In September, and we'll just transition to studio work when I finish the traveling aspect of my job. I appreciate all of you. Honestly, I still feel like I'm a bit of at a loss with everything. Words of guidance are always appreciated, but I know that no matter what, I won't put my future on hold. I love this. Yes, queen. Don't put your future on hold for a man. Sometimes you outgrow people. And I'm glad that he recognizes that and that he was holding you back. That took a lot. And like I said, I'm glad he goes to therapy. I'm glad he recognizes the way that he was feeling was toxic and not healthy and detrimental to you. I think that's the best you could ask for. Obviously, did you want your relationship to stay together? I'm sure you at least liked him a little bit. So I'm sure that that's disappointing, but he honestly did what was best for both of you. And I hope that he is able to work through it and you continue to thrive. He took himself out with that one. And I respect it. Do I think he's a good person for holding those values? No. But do I think that he's necessarily completely cut from the team and he can't improve? Also, no. He's taking the steps. So you are undoubtedly the victim here and he is the a-hole for saying those things. But I think that he did the right things to rectify it and he's doing what he needs to do to get to a better place and become a better person. So I respect it. And the top comment from Best of Redditor is girl gets a good job and leaves her loser boyfriend in the dust to deal with his alcohol-related legal issues. Good for her. And yeah, I agree. I will have this linked in the description if you want to read it, check out more of the comments. Also, if you are on YouTube, don't forget to hype. It's available to hype for the first week that the video is on YouTube. And what it does is it just shows it to the community who might not see it otherwise. So I really, really, really appreciate it. It means the world to me, just like everything else. It's free. Don't forget to follow, comment, all the fun things. I want to know your opinion on these stories as well. But let's go ahead and jump on into the next one. Boyfriend faked death and then called my reaction manipulative. Original post is from October 2nd, 2021, and it was re-recovered with RA Reddit. Me and my boyfriend, I'm 21 female and he's 24 male. Together for 3 years, live apart, but he had plans to rent together soon. Everything perfect before this. So you were 18 and he was 21 when you got together. Interesting. I'm just going to keep that in mind. Just going to tuck that information back. Backstory. I have a history of self-harm. Oh, I did not see that ahead of time. Trigger warning if that's going to trigger you. I will have chapters on this so that you can skip to the next one. If it doesn't show up on YouTube, it's in the description down below. But I did want to let you know. Sorry, I don't read these ahead of time, so a little late with the self-harm trigger warning, but that will be a part of this. I have had this history since I was about 11 years old. The last time I did it was 2 years ago. I had some brutal scars, but I'm doing much better and I'm in therapy. It's been a while since I even had the urge to, which I'm happy for you. That's really, really hard. And I'm glad that you are feeling better. My boyfriend had an ex before me who played mind games a lot. I feel like it's relevant as he sometimes thinks I'm playing games when I'm not. For example, he was wary when we started dating that I would self-harm for attention or do it to punish him. His ex would threaten things like that if he ever left her. I don't/haven't ever done this, and despite my struggles, I'm pretty good with being patient and communicative. Until this, I considered us to have a really healthy relationship. Main story. Boyfriend went out drinking with his friends. I usually hear from him as he gets home, 2 a.m.-ish, to let me know he's home and safe, but I didn't hear anything last night. I figured he just forgot, no biggie, I went to bed as normal. I woke up at 11 a.m. to a bunch of missed calls from his mother, which they live together. I called her back and she texted at 1 p.m. that she couldn't talk. Was kind of worried and told her as much. She said my boyfriend didn't get home last night and was in a crash and didn't make it. What? This was super weird to me since I get on well with his mom and would never expect to be told this via text. After some more texting, I fully believe my boyfriend had passed away that morning, and I totally shut down. My stomach dropped. That's okay. That's awful. The people I live with were out all day, so I was alone. Grief set in immediately, and I had an extremely bad relapse on my self-harm. Oh no. This makes me so upset. At that point, I didn't even care. I was just hurting so much, and my usual coping techniques weren't just doing their job. I listened to old voice notes of his and even sent one telling him how much I loved him through the most unhinged sobbing I've ever done. Well, he arrived at my house 20 minutes later saying it was a prank since he got into a small bump and thought I'd get mad at him about driving drunk, as well as about him mushing up his car a little, and him and his friends came up with this plan to make me happy that he was all right. So they took his mom's phone and the above happened. I'm sorry. I'm gonna throw up because I'm so angry. Like, guys, the worst types of people do this. If you do something like this, you are the worst type of person. I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. Do not do stuff like this. This isn't a prank, this is manipulation. He knew that she was going to be upset with him, rightfully so, because he was doing something that is not only illegal, but harmful to yourself and others, and has financial repercussions. There is no positive to drunk driving. I'm sorry. I will put the hammer down on that. He knew that she was going to get upset with him, and so he said, let's find a way to make her not get upset. What can we do? What can we do? Let's tell her I died. Because then she'll probably be upset, but she probably won't be upset with me. Yay! No. Are you kidding me? This is despicable. Like, he is a horrible person. I'm sorry. I obviously was thankful he wasn't gone, but I had a million other much stronger emotions. I was so angry he drove drunk, so angry he saw nothing wrong with it, so angry that he would lie about something so serious, and absolutely heartbroken that he let me sit in grief for over an hour until I sent a voice note that made him feel bad. Plus lots of other things I'm still struggling to articulate. The repercussions, like, you could have... I'm trying to think of how to word this. As someone who has a history of, like, depression, I don't want to minimize it, but, like, thoughts of leaving this earth, by my own doing, things like that haven't happened in a while. Like, I haven't felt that way in a while, but I know what this feels like. Not necessarily the self-harm, because that was never my specific flavor of depression, but all those other things. What if you would have done something irreversible in this time? Sorry, this is getting really dark, but do you know where I'm going with this? Like, as someone who has a history of, like, depression in any capacity, I also know people who literally, like, their significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, has passed traumatically, unexpectedly, usually by a car accident, and they have sadly taken their own life shortly after, like, within the hour, because they didn't want to live without them. So I'm not saying that OP would have done that. I'm not saying that at all. But knowing your history, did that not cross your boyfriend's mind? Probably not, because it sounds like he's just a selfish asshole who didn't want to deal with the fucking repercussions. Sorry, this makes me so angry. But that is one thing that crosses my mind. And I know that the self-harm thing, like, if he would have been actually thinking about it, that would have crossed his mind too. Like, that you could have relapsed. I'm just so angry on your behalf. What do we see in this man again? Whatever you saw, I hope it's in the past and he's out the door, because this is horrible. Again, I'm sorry for like trigger warning not being as good as it could have been. This really jumped on me. I apologize for that. If you're still listening and feeling triggered, I totally understand skipping this episode, skipping to the next story. I get it. This is a heavy topic, but I feel like these are things that, oh, this turned into like, what was the theme? Hate at first sight? This is like scorched the earth in reaction to this man at first sight. Like, are you kidding me? Let's just keep reading. There's a little bit more. He found out I harmed and flew off the handle. He said I punished him and turned a harmless prank into something much more serious and ruined the joke of it. Dude, this wasn't a joke. This was serious to begin with. What part of death is not serious to you? He said I was guilting him for having fun, and now he can't trust I won't do it again. He even suggested I stay in the hospital for my mental issues for a few weeks and crank up therapy. He said he can't leave me if he wants to now, or else I'll act like this. Just like his ex. Oh my, this man. I'm beyond hurt. I probably should look into therapy if I'm still resorting to it. I admit that this was not an everyday bout of anxiety or even a breakup. I thought he had passed away. I'm also very aware that his actions were massively shitty and he is being so manipulative in the aftermath. How is it a punishment if I thought he was dead? I absolutely would not react like this if he just broke up with me, and I have never said or hinted at that. Not really sure what to do now. My gut tells me to leave him over this, but I'm so unsure. You need to leave him, okay? This is awful. He's manipulating you. You had a relapse, which has been known to happen when people who have the specific flavor of depression or any flavor of this go through stressful, unexpected grief of any kind. I was really struggling with my depression, my OCD, all of that. All of that recently really, really flared up. Obviously, when I went through my dog passing away, that's not the same thing as like losing a person, I know. But that petition that I asked you guys to sign, is because of that. She was taken unfairly, traumatically, and I had a relapse in all of my mental health issues. I'm okay. I have a lovely therapist who I see multiple times a week, and I have a very supportive family. Um, but it's very, very common to relapse in your mental health problems that you had under control when you are put in these unexpected, stressful, grief, bad situations of any sort. That's very common. I don't want you to beat yourself up and feel like you did something wrong because of this. He is the one in the wrong, and you did not punish him. In fact, I feel like all of this, I can't diagnose, I'm not a therapist, but all of this was probably in a way punishing yourself, or a way to let out that pain that you were feeling. So I don't think that in any way you are the one in the wrong here. You're the victim. You are the one who is okay. And I think that you would benefit from some therapy and taking out the trash. And by that, I mean kicking your boyfriend to the curb. I hope karma does its worst with him. OOP did respond to some relevant comments. One person said, your boyfriend is a horrible person. What he does shows deeper character flaws. The drunk driving is bad enough. Exactly. More so because he knew it was wrong and chose to do it anyway. But the quote-unquote harmless prank, that's just mean, so disrespectful and inconsiderate, made all the more so by your personal history. And speaking of the accident, did he leave the scene of an accident while he was driving drunk, or was he late getting home because he got a DUI? That's true. Like, did he hit and run? These are things we need to know. OP did say he bumped into a fence, so luckily nobody was injured, but the potential was there as well as the carelessness. I don't know if he was late or not, honestly. I think he planned this almost immediately and not texted me all night as part of it. I mean, he still needed to report that because the damage to the fence is still on him. Okay? That fence has more rights than a dog in Kentucky, just saying. I've learned these laws inside and out. So he is responsible for damage to that. And like, just to leave that on the person who could have been struggling financially, could have been going through their own things. It's just his responsibility to fix it. So at bare minimum, he would have gotten a DUI for that, or a hit and run. I would call the police and report it, but I'm petty. Another comment, he sucks in this situation, and for the whole record, he sometimes thinks I'm playing mind games like his ex, tells me this is not an all-around otherwise healthy relationship. I'm sure it has some good, but it's not otherwise completely healthy. It's also very concerning to me that when he saw you self-harmed, his reaction was to get upset with you. He couldn't empathize or sympathize with it. Or the thinking your boyfriend died, or any of it. He can't admit he was wrong for any part of this, and that's enough to break up. At least hold off on moving in. Maybe you should get more therapy for just a bit, just to talk about this situation. This is beyond traumatic and you don't deserve that. OOP said, sorry, he only felt that way in the beginning of a relationship as that was his only experience with someone who self-harms, but it hadn't been an issue for years now. I do feel that we worked through it and has always been supportive during my urges when I first tried to stop and even supportive during a relapse. It's kind of why I'm unsure now. All this behavior is out of the blue. I know people are going to think I'm mentally weak or something, but I can and do recognize manipulative behavior, and I promise this is the first case I've seen with him. Definitely continuing therapy. The very top comment is, what a sick joke. You need to break things off ASAP. I do want to say, I know these are hard topics, and if they're too hard for you, like, don't feel bad doing what you need to do to protect yourself. But I also feel like we do need to talk about the bad things too. Like, I don't want this channel to just be like silly, goofy. We all are learning from these stories in one way or another. Like, yes, they're entertaining, but I think that we can also take a lesson from each and every story and put it in our toolkit for when we encounter something. And I think that the emotional manipulation, how to handle like situations when you yourself have mental things going on, these are all things that we can learn from. So I don't want to just like dance around the topic. I feel like some bigger channels do, and we need to talk about it. It needs to be something that is discussed, but I also understand if that's something you don't want to talk about. I got it. Don't worry about it. I'm not always in the headspace where I can talk about these things, so no harm, no foul. I do want to say that. And again, sorry for the trigger warning not being as good as it could have been. Kind of snuck up on me. There is an update from 13 days later. Long story short, I broke up with him for the following reasons. Drunk driving, which was endangering himself and others. Took his mother's phone and made me think it was her. Deception. Telling me he was no longer with us. Deception and extreme emotional stress. Not to mention manipulation. Letting me think that for hours. I could list every negative trait for that one. Borderline sociopathic behavior. Not being sorry for any of these things. She just said twat. Telling me I'm too sensitive. Invalidation / shifting blame. Being mad at me for relapsing. Unsupportive, uncaring, and unkind. I still won't blame him for the relapse though, as many people here wanted me to. That is on me, and I'm still going to therapy regularly for that. So for those interested, I took a few days to myself. I did speak over the phone to his mom, and she was incredibly apologetic on his behalf. I taught her how to put a passcode on her phone. Aw, I like that. After that, we met up and I outlined the things I listed above. He seemed apologetic and sincere about all of them and listened to me well. Unfortunately, he didn't quite understand that being apologetic wouldn't get me to change my mind on ending their relationship, so his true colors came out at the end. He got annoyed at me for ending it and again told me I was dramatic and other invalidating arguments. Oh well, I said what I needed to say, and that's enough closure for me. Top comment from Reddit says it all. Want to bet his ex wasn't crazy? Or at least not prior to meeting him? And that is true. Whenever they say their ex is crazy, manipulative, whatever, we need to make our own conclusions. That's not always the case. Wow. Okay. So that really made my heart pound, made me angry. I kind of feel like we need like a little palate cleanser. Let me see if we can find one, because yeah, I feel like we just need something happy after whatever the heck that was. Okay, we're totally taking a turn and doing a totally different story than the hate, because we need a palate cleanser. Everybody take a deep breath. We're okay. We're okay. They're just stories. They can't hurt us. Okay. So we're going to read a happy story to end things on. If you are watching, I will include it in pictures and stuff in the video. But lost or abandoned pet rat in Rock Creek Park. Trigger warning, I know some people are weirded out by rats. There are going to be pictures of the rat, but he's a little cutie patootie, and you can just like not look, but just picture it being a different animal, you know, maybe a mouse, maybe a rabbit, perhaps. It's a good story. So this is in the r/Washington, D.C. originally. I know rats are not popular critters, but please refrain from being cruel. This is an abandoned domesticated pet. I will just keep the picture for the whole story. I don't live in DC anymore as of a few years ago, or I would be out looking for this little guy myself, but a friend sent me a photo of this fella who is obviously someone's pet. She didn't know that at the time and sent this photo later. He is albino or Siamese, definitely not a wild brown rat. If any DC or nearby residents want to try to look for this guy, that would be amazing. He's clearly friendly enough to come out to see people. My friend said he was quote unquote at the bottom of Tilden where those stone houses are, by the creek where the ducks hang out. Pure smelt area. I hope we can get him in a loving home. So like I said, I included the pictures. I'll keep those up. So they were rescued. I'll read some relevant comments though, just because this is wholesome. And I love it. Like when animals, they post like dumped animal, it stresses me out so much. They do it a lot here because of our parks. Like we used to live next to a park and that's how I actually got two of my bunnies. Someone dumped a bunch of bunnies in the park. They always do it around Easter. Two of them were not spayed, neutered. They had babies. I'm pretty sure two of mine are brothers. I drank a little too much coquito after Christmas, and I ended up outside in freezing temperatures trying to trap 3 bunnies. I ended up getting 2 of them. The other one is still on the loose. It's been a year and a half, and they still send pictures of him. But there's like 30 that are still in our neighborhood. Animal control knows about it. All of bunny rescues know about it. Nobody can take in 30 bunnies, so they just keep repopulating. But I got 2 of them, and they are now in my house, Bodie and Bruce. We think they're brothers. We don't know for sure. They definitely are very, very similar in age, and Bruce follows Bodie around. Bodie is definitely the brains of the operation. I don't know if Bruce has the wits about him to survive on his own. He's staring at me because he knows I'm talking about him. He's right behind the camera. Hi, Brucey. But yeah, dumped animals make my heart so sad. I always want to go get them, but Josh would kick me out if I got every single animal that was dumped. So I love a happy ending. All that to say, let's read some happy comments. Someone said, save him, I'll take him, OMG, sweet baby. He has a brown nose and ears. Is it possible it's just an unusual variation of wild rat? Which, guys, heads up, I'm going to share a picture of Bodhi right here because he also has a brown nose and ears. I believe he's Himalayan, but he also could be a Californian. He's Californian but has Himalayan coloring, so I don't know. Bruce is definitely Californian and he's black, like all black. So if they're brothers, that would mean they're both. I don't know. But all that to say, for bunnies at least, if you see a bunny that is not like the typical wild cottontail color, they are domestic. They should not be out there. They will die. Yeah. I don't know. We don't know how the colony in my old neighborhood has been around so long because typically they won't last very long. Don't know if rats are the same way. I would assume so. Someone did respond and say, nope, they're a Dumbo rat, which is also a type of pet rat, not related to color. So the color isn't the only pet-like quality. Update, no rat sighting tonight. We looked for a long time. I am happy to help keep looking if there's someone who can immediately take the rat as I cannot hold on to him at home. And OOP said, thank you so much for trying. That is one thing I was thinking about is how hard would it be to find a loose rat? I don't know if they stay in the same area or if they like are around. I don't know. They said we truly did try. Sucks we couldn't find the little one. Again, if anyone can take it right away, I'm happy to go back out another day and keep looking. Just gotta tell me. Unfortunately, my cat would grow thumbs and learn to open doors if I brought one in. And then someone said, I DM'd you. I'm at BWI waiting for my nephew to fly out, but could get to DC in a couple hours. I have to stop home for a quick work thing. We have pet rats currently, and we'll be happy to take care of this guy. We have 3 rat boys right now, and we'll be happy to have another. My nephew has girl rats and can take her if she's a girl. And then they said the update that person who said that did take him. She's been saved by my sister who took them. And her name is Eggs, which, oh my gosh, there's another picture. Look at Eggs. Look at her. She's so cute. They did post an entire article about it on the Washington Post, which will be linked in the Best of Redditor Updates post. All of this will be linked in that link, so you'll be able to see that. But I love that for Eggs. Oh, okay. They responded on the Best Redditor and said the name Eggs didn't stick and we're calling her Pumpkins Fancy. As of 15 minutes ago, there are no rat babies yet, although at this point, Fancy looks like a tennis ball with a head on one side and a tail on the other. Her favorite food is eggs, and she likes blueberries, cantaloupe, watermelon, and bananas. She has disdained apples, blackberries, raspberries, and carrots, and she'll eat some mixed fruit baby foods, but only if she's sure I don't actually have eggs. Yay, okay, yay, Fancy! Okay, guys, I love that. Thank you for going down this rabbit hole with me for this palette cleanser. I don't know if you noticed, but I kind of like animals and I know a lot of little random facts about them. So my ADHD is ADHDing and I love kind of just like talking about them and all the little random facts I know. But this was the palate cleanser I needed. I can continue about my day. Um, that man was the scum of the earth. And then the person before him, at least he was trying. He wasn't too great either, though. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Sorry that the lighting has been terrible. I didn't think I needed the light, so I didn't turn it on. But it's about to start storming and a high-key, low-key tornadoing. So, yikes. Not great. That's probably why it's dark, because, like, clouds. Duh. Wow. Took me 27 years to figure that out. But all that to say, I really appreciate you guys taking a second or an hour or however long this is to hang out with me. Let me know your thoughts on everything. If you can, comment down below. I would love to hear it. I hope you guys are having a great day, a great week. I am filming on my phone, which is another reason why the thing might be weird. I'm gonna order the camera part to fix my camera today. It's been a journey. Someone said they could fix it. They ordered the camera part. Now they're like not able to help. And so like we have to do it on our own and we're trying to scramble to make it work and it's not gonna be here for a week. So it's been a whole thing. But I'm ordering it today. And once my camera's back, there's gonna be so many more videos. I hope. That's the goal at least. Me and my ADHD brain will do our best. But yeah, I hope you guys still enjoyed. I hope that these stories didn't scare you too terribly and you enjoyed Fancy the Rat as much as I did. But yeah, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I am uploading every single Wednesday and Sunday right now. So today's Tuesday. You'll see this tomorrow. I will see you guys Sunday with a whole new podcast episode. Bye, guys.